We will change the world.
Hi everyone, this is Reki Rose, SGR, Star Gang Rockstar, Star Legend. This is a true video about who I am as a person. I want to make this video because I want to show the world who I am. The only way I can be truthful and show what it really means to be freedom, love and peace is if I show you what my life is. And my life is like a story for a reason, because I want to explain what truth is. I want to explain the facts of change from conflict to change to non-conflict, which basically means being able to find freedom, love and peace in your hearts and souls and minds. And before I make this very brave, encouraging video, I first want to state that I'm doing this because I want humanity, the animals and the universe to be a better place. And the only way that it can be a better place is if I be completely 100% myself and be completely honest with who I am as a person and show the truth of what it means to be from conflict, find the change and be free from conflict, which means no more conflict. And this video will change everything because it explains exactly how I am the way I am today. It shows the complete 100% truth of who I am. And for many years I thought I would never ever do this, because I was too afraid. I was too scared to show who I really was. But this is the essence of the true reality of my life. And in order for me to inspire humanity, animals and the universe, I need to now be 100% of who I am at all times. And that means giving people the truth without the fear of judgment or the fear of an image or perception or the fear of what people might think. And it takes a lot of courage to do something like this, a lot of bravery, but the time is now for revolution. The time is now for people to really understand what love is. And if I didn't love the purpose of what God given to me, I wouldn't be doing this today. And it's only because love equals sacrifice. I have to sacrifice who I am for God. That means everything of who I was has to be gone and it has to be shown, which means that is why I'm doing this video. And I really want to explain in detail how I was able to change from living in conflict to finding a change within the conflict and now living without conflict. And it first begins with the past, which equals I, which equals conflict. This is the past. I, conflict. I was born on the 9th of the 11th, 1988. I have a wonderful mother and a wonderful father who raised me and my twin brother and my brothers and sisters in a very small flat. And we lived a very normal childhood. It was really okay. It was really very loving, caring, kind. But along those lines things changed, and it wasn't to do with us as, it wasn't to do with the children, like me and my brothers and sisters. It was more to do with what my parents were going through. At the time, obviously we're young babies, we don't understand, life and what happens in the world, and what things arises when you're raising a family and you're trying to hold into a relationship. And a lot of things happened in my parents' marriage, and because of certain changes within the marriage, my sorry, it's very hard to say, it's still personal to me to this day. My parents had a divorce, and I was only around 4 at the time, and this was the first ever conflict I experienced, which was, I'll name it, called separation. The reason why it was so difficult is because I was very close to my dad, and we was always together, and to go through a separation of not being with your father. Of course I love my mum, of course I love my father, but I was very close to my dad, and that really had a damaging effect on me as a person. That was the first conflict I ever experienced, and it was the first time I felt anger. I just started to become very angry and bitter, and I hated the world, and I hated what was going on, and I hated certain situations. I hated that I wasn't around my father. I hated that my mum was single with all her kids. I just didn't like the situation, and because I was so young, I took it out on the world. I was only like 4 years old at the time, and I took out my anger and frustration and pain in all different ways. I became very violent towards people in schools and nurseries and primary schools. I was a very violent child. I was a very I didn't take shit from anyone, and it was mainly because of this conflict that I was feeling inside, which was the hurt and the pain of not being close with my father. And I don't blame my parents for what their decision was. That's down to them. I blame myself at that time because I was too young to understand what was going on. I never knew any better. So instead of me as a human being finding out what was going on, the conflict was building inside of me, and it really stayed with me for a long time. And of course, my mum, she raised her children. There was 5 of us, and my mum was going through struggle, so much struggle, and trying to raise her kids by herself with no father around. And that was the second conflict that I felt, which was seeing someone I love being hurt and being in pain and being in struggle. And it was very hard. Very hard to watch your mother working so hard for so little, trying her best to raise all her children, and she's going through the ultimate life challenge. And these things just made me very angry. I was very angry when I was younger, and those two things were the first conflicts that I experienced. So it was separation and loss, hurt and loss. And I was only 4 years old at the time, and